Evolve or Perish, Chapter 10, Distribution of Taxes. Neither wealth nor income is uniformly distributed among the people. They never will be, even under the most ideal system. Some people contribute more to the economic system than do others, and they are entitled to greater compensation. Under our present system, there is a totally unjust distribution of wealth. In return for toleration of the injustices which permit a small number of men to amass great wealth, they are supposed to submit to proportionately heavy taxes. We will observe that great wealth refuses to permit itself to be taxed on the same basis as smaller incomes. We will see how the poorer people pay out larger percentages of their income than the wealthy for taxes other than income taxes. There is a bit of fiction in widespread circulation to the effect that our wealthy men have to pay such exorbitant taxes that the major portion of their incomes is taken from them. This is not so. The income tax has fallen relatively very lightly on the millionaire class. Our lawmakers have been extremely kind to them. And as to other taxes, they get off with a much lighter burden than the fellows earning low wages and salaries. Here is an instance. The man who has an income of $5 million or more a year, 1929 data, got a lower income tax rate than the man who had an income of $500,000. The rate paid for $500,000 was 15.98%, and the rate for $5 million was 14.96%. For a tenfold increase in income, the tax rate was reduced by 6% of the rate for the smaller income. 10 men, each with an income of $500,000, would pay approximately $80,000 each, or a total income tax of $800,000 on their combined incomes of $5 million. If, however, this total amount of income went to one man, his income tax is only $750,000. One man who garners as much income as 10 men is rewarded by the government by a cash reduction of $50,000 in his income tax. Compare this situation with that existing in the lower brackets. If a man increased his income by 1,000%, from $10,000 to $100,000 a year, the tax rate was jumped from 0.5% to 12.9%, or a 2,600% increase in rate. The tax rate increase was twice as great as the rate of increase in income. Let us go still lower in the scale. If a man increased his income tenfold from $5,000 to $50,000 a year, his tax rate jumped from 0.13% to 8.3%. This is approximately a 60-fold increase in tax rate for a tenfold increase in income. These income tax schedules seem to be designed to penalize the man in the lower income brackets who is seeking to enlarge his income and to permit the amassing of excessive wealth without penalty to millionaires and multimillionaires. The figures on 1929 income and other tax rates are: the income tax rates are shown graphically in the accompanying chart. Notice how the curve is up to the $10,000 a year class, how it rises rapidly up to the $100,000 a year class, and how it flattens out almost horizontally in the multimillionaire classes and actually starts downward again in the highest bracket. Our chart and figures show that the rate started to rise substantially from less than 1% at the $10,000 a year class, and when the $500,000 a year class was reached, the rate had advanced to 15.5%. Within this sector, the increase had been at the rate of 1% for every $3,000 increase in net income. Then comes a halt. There was a mysterious change in principle of operation after the millionaire class was reached. No longer was there an increase in rate for increase in income. There is no defensible reason for this change. If the rate increases applicable to the middle register of incomes were continued to the higher income brackets, the man with the $5 million income would be paying a rate of nearly 40%. If there was any justice in the lower income tax rates, then there is utterly no excuse for not continuing the same rate of increment to the higher brackets. There is widespread propaganda in circulation to the effect that wealthy men pay heavy taxes other than income taxes. The intrinsic amounts of these taxes may be large, but in comparison to the size of their incomes, wealthy men pay a much smaller percentage of their incomes for taxes than men with small incomes. The figures on tax payments, other than income tax, are contained in a table presented on another page, and they are shown graphically in Figure 22. The man with a $5 million income paid a little over 1% of his income for taxes, other than federal income taxes, while the man with the $5,000 income pays 4%. If we add both tax burdens together for each income class, we will find that the total tax burden on wealth increases much less rapidly than with the income taxes above. We will note that the $5,000 a year man pays a total of 4%, and the millionaire group pays a total of 16%. The man with an income of $5 million a year has an income 1,000 times greater than the man with a $5,000 a year income, yet his total tax rate is only 4 times as great. The chart and figures apply only to direct taxes. There are innumerable hidden taxes in every expenditure for ordinary living costs. The man in the lower income brackets spends almost his entire income for living expenses, while the millionaire spends but a very small fraction of his income for this purpose. So, his percentage share of these hidden taxes is extremely small compared to that of the poor man. Tobacco taxes are paid largely by the poor man, but the amount they net the government is of the same magnitude as the individual income tax returns. The poor man pays 20% of his income for taxes, hidden and direct, making his total tax burden even greater than that of the millionaire. The net result is that the millionaire enjoys the benefits of his great wealth without paying any greater penalty for the enormous size of his income.